All right, hello and welcome. So, the refreshed English curriculum for years 0 to 6 is officially here. And look, if you're a busy teacher, you know you need to get up to speed and fast. You need to know what's changed and what it actually means for your classroom. Well, that is exactly what we're going to do right now.
We get it. Your time is so precious. So let's just cut straight through all the noise and get right to the essentials of this refresh. We're going to break it all down in just 5 minutes.
Okay, here's our game plan. First, we'll hit the big picture why. Then, we're going to unpack the real engine of this whole thing, structured literacy. After that, we'll dive into the 2 phases, the first 3 years and then years 4 to 6. We'll even look at how texts are put to work and wrap it all up with your top takeaways. Sound good? Let's jump in.
So first things first, let's talk about the why. You know, every big change like this has a core idea driving it, and this one is no different. It's all about one central goal for our students.
And that goal is captured perfectly in this wakatoki. It means fill the basket of knowledge. This beautiful idea is really the heart of the whole curriculum. It's all about seeing learning as this lifelong journey of filling up a student's kete, their own personal basket of knowledge with amazing language and stories from all kinds of different voices.
So, what exactly are we putting in that basket? Well, this breaks it down for us. The idea is to give students, well, everything, from the absolute basics, the codes of language, all the way to the confidence to create their own texts. It's also about celebrating New Zealand's incredible literary heritage and, really, giving our kids the skills to join in conversations, whether they're local, national, or even global.
Okay, that's a big goal, right? So how do we actually do it? That brings us to what is probably the single most important part of this whole refresh: structured literacy. This is the how. This is the engine that makes everything else work.
So what is structured literacy anyway? Well, in a nutshell, it's an approach that's backed by a ton of evidence. And it's a big shift away from just hoping kids will figure out the rules of reading on their own. The key words to remember are explicit, systematic, and cumulative. Basically, it means we're building knowledge block by block, step by step, in a really clear and intentional way.
And these are the building blocks we're talking about. I mean, look at this list. You've got everything from oral language all the way up to comprehension. And the key thing is, every single one of these pieces is taught directly and in a logical order. The whole idea is to make sure no one falls through the cracks.
This slide just lays out the progression so clearly. The curriculum gets that learning to read isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. It happens in stages. So in those early years, it's all about building that solid foundation, mastering things like phonics. But then, as kids get older, the focus shifts. It moves towards those deeper, lifelong skills like building a rich vocabulary and really understanding what they're reading. Let's take a closer look at each of those phases.
All right, let's talk phase 1. This is for all of you teaching our littlest learners from year 0 to 3. This is where it all begins, laying that absolutely crucial groundwork.
So there are really 3 big priorities here. Number 1, a huge focus on oral language, just talking and listening. Number 2, that direct, explicit teaching of the codes, phonics, grammar, all that good stuff. And number 3, it's about using fantastic stories and texts to spark a real love of reading, right from the very beginning. Okay, so that's the foundation. Now let's see how things ramp up in phase 2 for our year 4 to 6 students. At this point, we're not just filling that keokite anymore. We're starting to deepen it.
And the big thing to notice here is the shift in focus. Of course, we're still locking in those foundational skills, but now we're moving into deeper comprehension and even critical analysis. Kids start asking why an author wrote something or what the purpose of a text is. They're also exploring a much wider range of texts. We're talking written, oral, visual, even digital. And all of this helps them become more precise and creative in their own writing.
So that's the theory. But what does this actually look like with the books kids are holding in their hands? Well, the curriculum lays out a really clear step-by-step progression.
This timeline is just a perfect example for the early years. See how it starts? Kids begin with decodable texts, which means they're practicing the exact letter sound skills they've just been taught. It sets them up for success. Then, from there, the complexity just built, step by step. You get more complex sentences, new sounds, and before you know it, they're diving into richer stuff like junior journals. It's all about building confidence through success.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground in a short time. So let's boil it all down. What does this actually mean for you in your classroom on a Monday morning? Let's get to the absolute must-know takeaways.
It really comes down to just 3 key things. If you only remember 3 points from this whole explainer, make it these 3.
First, structured literacy is the absolute core of this thing. That systematic, evidence-based approach is what drives everything. Second, it's all about progression. We start with learning to read in those early years, and then we shift to reading to learn and analyze in the later years. And finally, number 3, the whole point of all this is to fill that rich kite for every single student, to give them a full basket of knowledge and a love for language.
And that really brings us to our final thought, which is actually a question for you. This new curriculum, it gives you the map, it gives you the tools. So the real question is, how are you going to fill your students' kite mataranga? We really hope this quick guide has given you a great place to start.